Good morning. Carolina in Fort Worth, who is ashamed of her love for me and pretends that she's not subscribed to me, responded to a rather offhand statement that I made in the SGV arrest video. I stated that it makes him feel like a tough guy to talk shit to the police, who are by policy restrained from talking shit back. They have to be polite. And she gave a rather rambling, incoherent response to it, but I will attempt to make sense of it and respond to her in turn. Number one is she says, do you think it makes us feel like tough guys? And no, I think it makes him feel like tough guys. If you watch his follow-up video where he's sitting in his car driving, discussing, I only watched about 5 minutes of it because Nate accidentally linked that video to me instead of the video he wanted me to comment on. Watched about 5 minutes of it, and he was bragging the whole time about how scared the police were of him, etc. So it makes him feel like a tough guy. I don't know what it makes other people, because I wasn't looking at what other people were doing, and I wasn't drawing inferences from what other people were doing. So there's that. The next thing is that she says that it shows people that they can talk shit to the police. Well, they may be able to talk shit to the police. Damn it. We've got the poop alert. Hold on. All right. I have acquired a pocket full of poop. So maybe they can talk that way to the police. It depends on state law and state statutes. People put a lot of misplaced faith in Houston v. Hill for the proposition that you can talk all the shit you want to cops and they can't criminalize it, and that is misplaced. The Supreme Court has determined that fighting words are not protected by the First Amendment. And if it is not protected by the First Amendment, then you can use, or the states can criminalize them. And before you try to misread Houston v. Hill yet again, I know some people are going to try to do that. It is dealing with a statute that was overbroad, that caught constitutionally protected speech along with fighting words, and therefore the statute was void for being overbroad. It was a constitutional violation for being overbroad. I did a video some time ago on disturbing the peace? No. Disorderly conduct, thank you. Disorderly conduct in Georgia. There was an auditor, cop watcher, who was popped for disorderly conduct against the police, and he asked me to look into some case law on it from Georgia, and they do in fact have a long history replete with instances of people getting convicted of disorderly conduct for saying shit to the police. It's just all in the words they say. If a court determines, if the statute prohibits fighting words, and to use fighting words against the police, then there's a good chance that you can get busted for it. So it's not a terribly smart thing to do unless you're really familiar with your state laws. Like South Dakota doesn't have that, so they haven't criminalized fighting words. So you probably can say all sorts of mean things to the police without catching a charge for it. Probably, unless you interfere or do something else. But anyway, the point is, you may or may not be able to do it. So you probably want to not encourage people to do something that may get them thrown in jail. That's one thing that auditors never seem to grasp, is that what's legal in one state may not be legal in another state. Number two, she says, in further bad advice, I want to remind everybody that cops have discretion. They can decide who to arrest and who not to arrest on various misdemeanors, and most of what auditors do are misdemeanors. So, a guy has discretion on whether or not to hem you up If you're a douche, he's much more likely to hem you up. So there's that. And then, especially if you're recording it, you have to remember that judges and juries may see this, and they may see you acting like a douche, which certainly won't play well into your favor. So again, not a good idea. I had another. Oh yeah, public perception. She brings up that, do you think the cops are nice when they're talking to homeless people, or when they're talking to blah, 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 or when they're planning drugs, or when they're doing this, or when they're doing that? Well, number one, polite doesn't mean nice. There is a difference between the two words. The police are polite, generally speaking, when they're dealing with other people. They are required to, generally speaking, by policy. And if you'll all consult your auditor handbook, page 32, policy is not law. But if you watch the auditor videos, you generally tend to see the auditors acting like assholes and the cops being polite. You don't see the cops planning drugs. You don't see the cops committing violations of people's Fourth Amendment for, excessive force or anything like that. You don't tend to see those. I know auditor supporters want to believe they see that, but you don't tend to see that. So when you're trying to gather public support and show people that they can swear at the police, stupidly, what you're actually doing is you're actually alienating the public. You're alienating them. They're looking at you acting like an asshole, and they're saying, why would I want to place myself in that position with someone who has discretion on whether or not to hem me up and potentially put me into a position where this video comes out, where my behavior comes out, and I have to explain it to a judge and jury. It's just not smart. Much like everything else Carolina does, it's just not smart. She doesn't think things through. She doesn't look at all of the potential ramifications of her actions before she does them. Like subscribing to me 5 times. She doesn't look at the potential ramifications of me getting email notifications of her subscriptions, and then going on to say that, generally when you randomly let videos play, all of a sudden Merb pops up randomly. Yeah. So fucking random. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.